Welcome back to 7,000 Volts Living an Electrified Life. Thank you for joining us today. Today's topic, the science method. And what I mean by the science method is we somehow as people, as humans, we're not perfect, but we forgot about the science method. We've forgot to keep it simple. There is so much information out there today, different podcasts, including mine, and all information is not good information. Just because I said it or somebody else said it doesn't make it right or true. We have to fact check that information to make sure the information that we're receiving is accurate and it's true. As simple as the science method. You remember that science class that you thought you'll never use? Like, I'm never going to use science. Well, you can apply science to your life. So you got homework to do. Go back and research the science method. I'll explain a little bit of it to you today. Every recipe is not for everybody. There's 1,000 different ways to bake certain different cakes. We can say cake, but if you want a lemon cake, what kind of lemon cake do you want? Do you want lemons inside of your cake? Do you want a lemon meringue cake? There's different recipes to make a lemon cake. So you have to do your research or be a creator and create the recipe for that lemon cake that you would like to have. Cooking a steak is simple as salt and pepper. Sometimes we outthink it, we overlook it, we overload information, and sometimes we forget to keep it basic. And the most basic way you can cook a steak is salt and pepper. Now, where that may get complicated at is which type of salt. Do you want basic salt? Do you want kosher salt? Do you want Malaysia salt? Do you want sea salt? Just a basic salt and pepper for a steak is simple enough to make that steak tender and juicy and good on every bite where you don't actually need any steak sauce or anything. Pepper. What kind of pepper do you want? Do you want basic pepper? Do you want peppercorns? And the list can go on. But sometimes we get away from basic, trying to outdo it and overdo it, that we forget to keep it basic. Being teachable is a powerful cheat code because it's very simple. Be humble, be quiet, and learn. That's what being teachable is. And if you can't be those three basic things, it may take you a while to figure out that cheat code to life. And it's really not a cheat code if you think about it. It's something so basic that we should be doing, such as the science method, to help us learn, process, move forward. Learn, process, and move forward. Because when we're able to learn, we're able to grow. When we're able to grow, it takes us to another level. And it takes people a lifetime to figure out what I'm telling you right now, the cheat code to life. Keep it simple. Be willing to learn. And when you're willing to learn, you become an expert and a professional at whatever it is that you do. You can read 1,000 books, which I encourage you to read much as you can, but you still have to process that information and apply the science method and apply the information that you just learned to your own life. Just like the lemon cake. If I have a taste for a certain lemon cake, I can't just go get the lemon cake from Walmart or get the lemon cake at Aldi's because there's a lemon cake that can't be duplicated that they sell at Publix. That's how simple that is. And once we understand that, just because it works for me, the same scenario might not work for you. This is why I always say, learn and process the information that we take in because there's so much information out there and it's so easy to get off track, get off course, and get away from our own truths. In order to get to our own truths, we have to keep it simple as the science method. And once you find out what that truth may be for you, it becomes easier and easier and easier. On a previous podcast, I talk about the right connection. See, when you get connected to the right people, you get to take a little bit from here, a little bit from here, and a little bit from here. It's like the science method. It's like making a chili. There's a million different ways to make chili. I personally make chili with leftover brisket. I cut it up, I chop it up, I put it in the food processor and make it nice and fine. I put it in there. I put some of this, I put some of that, some onions, some everything that make the chili the way I like it. And it's my chili. I call it LJ's world famous chili. But that's what I figure out as a part of the science method. You have to do what works for you. And once you get information, if you process this information, you can do the science method to realize if the information that you receive is fact or not. Again, one of the reasons we don't do politics on this show and why I don't talk about politics is that same reason that I'm explaining to you today, because of the science method. And if you keep it simple, you can't be bedazzled, you can't be bamboozled, and you can't be tricked into believing something that's just simply not true. Keep it simple, people, the science method. And so once we understand the science method, we're learning how to process things in life a little bit smoother. I like one of the benefits of being in the tree business, one of the benefits of exotic invasive trees like Brazilian peppers, carrotwood trees. Although they're invasive in this area, guess what? They're not invasive in other areas. But one of the things that are important that I really like about them, I went to do a removal on a Brazilian pepper the other day, and I almost didn't want to remove it because all the birds, although I didn't displace them from what they like to do, they like to eat the berries, but just the different birds that come and eat the berries from the Brazilian peppers. So it's funny, although it's so invasive to this area, it also brings a pleasant birds that they like to feed off. It's a feeding ground for them. And then they eat those berries. And they go poop those berries out, normally on a fence line or a shoreline where it's got real fertile ground, and they reproduce. And once you reproduce, you got more of that exotic tree. So we won't even say invasive anymore. I won't say invasive anymore. We call them exotics. It's an exotic tree from a different country. And the tree is so exotic, it's reproducing itself. Just like bad information, just like good information. But in this society and in this world, it seems like bad information spreads faster than good information. And bad information can be toxic to our life, the things that we want to accomplish in life. So this is why we got to be careful with the information that we bring in. I've done it. You've done it. We've all done it. We'll take information, and before we get the facts right, we're telling the story wrong that was already probably told wrong 10 different times before it got to us. And so we're like the birds just eating that exotic tree, and they're spreading it. They're not just spreading it in this area, they're spreading it wherever they migrate to. A Brazilian pepper that's not native to the United States of America, that's here because it was brought here, something as simple as birds migrating. It's just like information again that could originated here in the United States, and we get online and somebody says something, and by the time it hits the other continent or other coast, the story's told a totally different way. It's carrying it through electronics, it's carrying it through the internet, and that can be considered invasive. It's like, there's so many countries that we don't even know the name of, or at least I don't. I'm told that there's over 1,000 countries. It's mind-boggling sometimes to realize that's how big this world is. And just think about the countries that don't have electricity and they don't live life the way we live it. They're not influenced or tainted with like a Brazilian pepper or the internet and the misinformation that's out there. They're able to live life the way they know it, whether we look down upon that or not, but they live life their way, not the way that it's been influenced from our way of life. We sometimes get on autopilot with information. We get on autopilot with life, and because of it, we're not really paying attention. It's like a knee-jerk reaction to the things that we do. The other day I had something go wrong with a stump grinder that caused me to drive to South Carolina to get it fixed under warranty. It wasn't even about the warranties. I can't afford to have this piece of equipment down, one of my stump grinders. So I took the drive. It was a 20-hour turnaround. I went up that Sunday afternoon, and I drove back Monday afternoon. By Tuesday, I was definitely on autopilot. Came back, I worked the next day. When I came in the evening into the yard, I clipped my electric fence. And I'm still mind boggled that how that happened. I'm like, why did I do that? I'm beating myself up that I clipped this new electrical fence that the gate opens. And so the result from that, I called it at last minute. I was on autopilot. I wasn't paying attention. Just like sometimes we do with information. We just take it in as truth and we don't think twice about it. Well, I'm on autopilot, so I'd make a left turn in, and by the time I looked in my mirror, the gate is halfway on the ground already. I was just, that cost me financially. It took 2 weeks for them to come out to repair it, and I had to live life without that electric fence. And that's another whole story that I won't get deep into it. But I came to the result that I was on autopilot, that happened. No excuse why it happened, but I can promise you one thing, it won't happen again, because it's just like the name of this podcast, the name of my book, 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life. I came in contact with electricity back in 2007 and was electrocuted, electrically shocked, whatever the case might have been. That hasn't happened again, and that's been over 2 decades ago. So that won't be happening again. And things happen for us to learn. We live, we learn, we move forward, or we don't learn, and we keep making that same mistake over and over again. That's why I titled this episode, The Science Method, because the science method helps us learn. It helps us grow. And it's called science because science is always changing. What was right for today may not be right for tomorrow because somebody has proven something wrong about the way we did things, so they do better. The way they make cars, they're making them better, more efficient, so to speak. It's another whole subject we won't get into, but the way of life as we know it here in the United States, it gets better, 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 better. Today I'm sitting in a podcast room that we created, a studio, and we have AC so I don't have to burn up because it's summertime. And I don't have to sit in the sweat box because of technology, because of the science method. How can we make this room cool down? Technology, the science method, they figured out ways to do it more better, more efficient, and it just puts us in the position to grow. Sometimes you'll have people say it's too much technology. But we learn. But back to being on autopilot that day, when something happened to the stump grinder causing me to drive and do a 20-hour turnaround, not only did I hit my fence that day, on my little tractor, I ran into somebody's mailbox. I was like, it's one of those days, like everything that could happen, happened. Wasn't a reason to have a pity party. Wasn't reason to write home or post on Facebook, man, you're not going to believe what happened to me today. Guess what? Those things happen, and this is the first time I'm actually talking about it. It happened. I dealt with it. But I had to ask myself, why did it happen? No exceptions, no excuses, and make no excuses. It was a mistake that was made, and I learned from it. I put the science method to the test, and I came to realize something that I learned when I got my CDL license. I was in sleep debt, which caused me to be on autopilot. And sometimes we can be in sleep debt when we put too much information in and we go to autopilot. Autopilot is not where you want to be at, especially if you're operating machinery, especially if you're operating a vehicle. And, because it's the knee-jerk reaction, because you're there, but you're not there. And the thing is, how can we prevent that from happening? I feel blessed and fortunate because I'm here to tell you this story. I'm here to talk about everybody's not so fortunate. Everybody's not so lucky. So the bottom line is, I make mistakes. I'm human. I make them, and seems like at this point in life, sometimes I still make them. And that's the human side of me. That's the human side of you. That's the human side of all of us. We're going to make mistakes. The question is, how do we keep from making the same mistakes? How do we get off of autopilot? How do we apply the science method to our life? How do we grow to become the person or the people that God has called us to be? How do we not buy into fear? How do we not buy into all the misinformation that we take in? And I, my friends, believe it's simple, and it's called the science method. So, in order to be better and in order to grow, I'm going to leave you with this. Laziness kills ambitions, anger kills wisdom, fear kills dreams, ego kills growth, jealousy kills peace, doubt kills confidence. Now I'm going to read that backwards. Ambition kills laziness, wisdom kills anger, dreams kills fear, growth kills ego, peace kills jealousy, confidence kills doubt. Remember the science method and apply the most positive thing you can to your life. Fact check your information. I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember to visit us on Facebook, my website, ljtucker.com, and be on the lookout for my book. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed week.